Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Spiritual Spotlight series. Today, I am joined by Larry Armstead II. He is an ecology certified life coach, divine human design founder, certified mindfulness teacher, quantum Reiki certified, emotional freedom technique practitioner, TEDx speaker, which is amazing, and author. Larry, thank you so much for coming on Spiritual Spotlight series. I am so happy you're here today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, for the first question, how did you first discover your passion for human design and spiritual life coaching? Because those are two big, heavy things.
Oh gosh, and they kind of feed each other actually. So if we look at the chronology of that, spiritual life coaching comes first, and then human design comes. I've always been. I was born on this planet as a little spiritual guy. My birthday's in 3 weeks, so 41 years ago, I was born as just a little spiritual guy, right? But I didn't know what to do with it growing up.
Mhm.
And about 14, 15 years old, I had an experience where I foresaw the death of my oldest brother in graphic detail of what was going to happen. And I saw it about a year before it happened. And um, it kind of turned everything on. And I
Yeah,
was never like, I didn't go looking for it. I wasn't like, in active meditation or anything like looking for it. It happened to me.
right.
And once the light was on, I couldn't turn it off. So I got extremely curious. And about, after he passed, I was about 16 years old. I got curious. And, this is 1999. So I went to the library and just checked out every book on spirituality, witches, ghosts, mediumship, anything. That entire section I pretty much owned.
Same,
Um,
same.
yeah.
It's a problem.
And absolutely. And it was a time where the internet was an infant, right? Because it's 1999. So there was a time you could also, check out 15 library books at a time. And I grew up in a very spiritual Christian household. And so I was kind of in the closet in two kind of ways at that time.
Wow.
Um, and because I was like, I don't know how my parents are going to feel about me having all this stuff in their house.
Right.
Um, I started reading tarot, and then I had friends all over the country. I started doing readings for them, and then I had one friend say, "Have you ever thought about doing this online?" And I was like, "Nobody's gonna pay me for this." And turns out they do.
Wow.
And then human design actually happened to me right before I had a major breakup um, a, a few years ago. It had been on my radar, and I was curious, but I wasn't like invested. I was like, nope, I already have tarot, I have oracle, I have everything else that you mentioned at the top of the podcast. I don't need another modality. Like, surely not. And one night, in the deep sunken place of the breakup that happens to any of us that have gone through that,
Yes.
I pulled open up the human design app that I had on my phone, and I saw myself, and I was like, oh my god, this explains so much. And I went just deep straight down the rabbit hole, and I have been down that rabbit hole ever since. The biggest thing for me with human design is like I've been trying to disprove that it works, and every time I try to disprove it, it doubles itself down. I'm like, no, this is actually a real thing. So and that's how I got here.
Wow. I want to say one thing that you mentioned. You suffered some traumatic losses, loss of your brother, a traumatic breakup. Would you say that these losses are rocket fuel for your ascension process?
In a way I've never thought about it that way, but in a way, yes, absolutely. They're kind of the impact point or the catalyst for things happening.
Yeah.
Um, in a way that I had not even considered before. So yes.
Yeah, the only reason I bring it up is that my brother committed suicide many years ago, and it's okay. Same to your brother too for his loss.
Thank you.
And it's interesting when you look back at, because we're both spiritual people, you've been on this path a long time,
Yeah.
like these pivotal moments where we've had these significant losses or traumas, that it's now like, oh, this happened as part of my ascension process. Yes, it's a terrible loss and I'm very sorry, but it's like now I can look back on it and be like, okay, it's okay. You know what I mean? Does that
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
And
let me
it's
ask you, go ahead. You're going to say
no,
something. I'm
no, no,
sorry.
no, go for it. No, go for it. I'm at your beck and call. Go for it.
Larry and I are now best friends. Okay, guys. Like we just,
Absolutely, we are.
I love this. So, and I will say this too, because I've noticed some challenges in learning human design. So, what challenges did you face in translating the complex language of human design into everyday terms?
Oh gosh, it is one of the okay. So
It's
again,
like
you
speaking
and I,
Greek.
yes, and that's I. So I told my best friend who actually introduced me to human design. I was like, it's like someone speaking in Chinese to me. It was
Yes.
like I see all these shapes and characters, and I'm like,
Yes.
what does this mean? The triangles and the squares and the diamonds, and this is colored in, but this is open, and you have these lines going here. And what does this mean?
Yes.
And it took for me to kind of like really immerse myself in it. It was kind of
Mm,
like when I learned Spanish, basically, in high school. It was just like total immersion,
right.
just to figure out what's going on. And you realize that human design is made up of several different spiritual modalities.
Mm,
And once you see the actual spiritual modalities, like the Jewish Kabbalah and the I Ching, and astrology, Eastern and Western
yeah.
astrology, you see all of these components, and I'm like, oh, I can break these apart and see where they actually came from, and then I can see how they've been synthesized together to make something new. And that was the breakthrough moment for me.
I love that. To be honest, I've never considered it like several different modalities blended into one. That's interesting. Hmm.
Yeah, the Kabbalah tree of life's there. Like all of these modalities are there,
Yeah.
and you just have to kind of get to where you gravitate
Hmm.
to in human design, because like you said, it's one of the most confusing things. Because I mean, you go to 75 websites, you type in human design in Google right now, you can get
Yes.
75 different websites that are going to explain it in 75 different ways. But
Yes.
the best way I always tell people is, if you come across human design, get a reading from a design reader like myself, so we can actually break it down for you, because
Right.
you will come to find, when you read on human design generally online,
Mm.
it's very generalized, right?
Yes.
But your design is actually about you specifically. So it's like,
Right.
cool, all this other stuff means something, but what does this mean about me specifically? How does this apply to me?
Right.
And that's when you'll start making the connection for design.
I love that. And I think for also it sounds like it's almost a deeper version of astrology. Like a lot of people really go into astrology and whatnot. I guess can you maybe explain how it's a different, I know you're also an astrology coach, so maybe I'm not asking the right question. So it's almost like, because I have a friend who is obsessed with astrology, and I'm always like, don't tell me what house my blah 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 is in. I don't care. Like it's so stressful to me about the whole Pluto going into Aquarius and where is it in
Yeah,
my chart,
yeah.
and I'm like, I don't want to die. Like that's how I feel. Like it comes across like that. Like it just your life is going to be
Yeah.
changed. But with
Yeah.
humans, isn't good.
So for me, I'm not an astrology guy.
Okay, you're
That's the
not.
one thing that I
I
haven't. Yeah,
love
I have
that.
not delved into that. But my best friend, she is now in astrology. I'm more the numerology kind of
Okay,
person.
I like
But
numerology. Yes.
yes, but human design has a huge astrological component.
Wow. Okay.
Um, and it's about, so the planets go through 64 different expressions of each planet, right? They
Wow.
call these planets gates in human design.
Right.
And there are certain planets that you have in certain configurations based on your design charts, that you
Gotcha.
have consistent access to this type of energy.
Gotcha.
And each planet, kind of like in astrology, speaks on a different thing. Like Mercury, for example, is your message to communicate to the masses, or right.
Right.
And everyone has a Mercury placement, so you'll get to see what those placements are and how they line up in your chart and all those things. So I mean, with human design, it's you can break it apart, but at the same time, the human design, it blends all the systems together into this
Mm.
brand new synthesis. So you
Yes.
have to kind of suspend what you know, but also apply what you know. It's
Yeah.
it's kind of a trade off in your head a little bit.
I love that. So in your book, Where's My Pizza? You talk
Yes.
about the power of expectation. How has this concept played a role in your personal and professional life?
So it's actually very funny, because this is one part where I can actually blend human design here so you guys can see this. So in human design, I have the channel 4130. And this channel basically is the channel of expectation. So I'm going to tend, based on my design, to look at everything in my life based on certain expectations, right? And
Wow.
this is before I knew human design was a thing.
Yeah.
So the fact that I wrote a book on expectations, and that's one of the major energy channels in my chart, is amazing, right?
Yes,
Um,
even before you, oh my goodness, how profound is that?
Absolutely, your design is always working in the background, whether you know it or not, right?
Wow. Yes.
And with "Where's My Pizza," when I wrote that, it was during a meditation. I heard, very clearly, in life we don't get what we want, we get what we expect. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And
Like, oh, excuse me.
yeah, right. And from there, it was just kind of like, okay, so what do I do with that? And Spirit was like, well, what are the things you actually expect to happen?
Yeah.
And I started looking at everything and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I expect that, I'm going to have a warm place to lay my head and all those things. So I'm actually looking for those things. And it's everything in your life that you actually look for, even the things you look for subconsciously that you're not aware of. So
Mhm.
the big thing is like, okay, well, I'm stuck in a job that I hate. Da, da, da. How am I expecting that? Well, you're expecting to go to a job that you hate every day. So you're going to fulfill the expectation that you placed upon that job every single day until you expect something different.
Wow. That is so interesting. It doesn't, and it's almost like it doesn't matter if it's negative or positive, it's neutral. Like
Absolutely.
no matter what your it's what your expectation is and what's in the subconscious and what you know and what you don't know. That's fascinating. It's so fascinating. You wrote a book about something that's actively in your human design chart. Like that's so
Absolutely.
cool. It's so cool. So I'm like Rachel is speechless. So can you maybe describe, and I'm sure you have hundreds of these, a moment where you've witnessed in a client's life through your coaching that they had like a very transformational experience or a profound moment?
Oh yeah, I had a coaching client last week actually. One of my favorite coaching clients. I won't, of course, I'm not going to drop any name or information, but this coaching client came to me and was like, "Larry, I realize that I love living in a house that is dusty and clothes aren't folded and all these things." And I'm like, "Say more." And she was like, "That's actually the subconscious expectation that I have, that I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. So I'm getting a benefit from being here because I get to about my husband that he's not doing enough. I get to complain about this isn't happening. I get to complain all these things, and Larry, I actually enjoy that. Getting people to that place where they can like listen to what's going on, they can observe what's going on, and they can say, "Oh my God, I actually do get some enjoyment out of this." Because what you'll notice is it'll knock on a trauma that's
Right.
unresolved in your body.
Wow.
Yeah. So for me, like if I use my own self as an example, kind of veering away from the client, I am a almost 41-year-old gay man living in the Midwest. And one of the biggest things for me was a couple summers ago realizing that I enjoyed being a homophobic gay man. I would not go to a pride festival because I wasn't like those people. I'm not going to wear rainbow like those people. I'm better than those people. And I was like, oh, I this is interesting. And so it broke my heart initially,
Of course.
like into a thousand pieces because I'm like, this is my community, but I'm completely judging this community. But that unlocked another thing because now I enjoy not only being homophobic, but I enjoy judgment. I'm like, okay, so how am I judging other people? How do I enjoy
Yeah.
that? And it was like, oh, I'm better than everyone. I'm better than my siblings because I didn't do the things that they said. I'm better than my brother who passed because I didn't do. So as you build up all of these things in your head, even on a subconscious level, and these things are like little children at the playground.
Right.
They need to come out and they need to play on all the rides. So I was like, you know what? We're going to let these judgmental, homophobic parts play because it's the only way we're going to transmute the energy.
Right.
I let them come out and play. I let myself be as judgmental as I could in my journal, everywhere. I would let the thoughts that I would typically resist just pop to the forefront of my head. And what I found is this: the moment that I let those things out and play, they calm down because they took their energy out. And now I went to my first Pride Festival, wore the rainbow stuff, and had a fantastic time. Zero judgment. But that couldn't have happened without me bringing that online
Yes.
and just letting that play
I have to say, I
out.
commend you in actually being so vulnerable and open with, that's something that some people don't want to admit to having, within themselves. Like your
Yep.
shadow side and the judgment side and as you're saying it, it's resonating with me. I'm like, I bet you I've got a judgy bitch inside of me. Like, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? I know I do. And as you're
Yeah.
saying, I'm like, oh, this needs to come out to play, but I'm not going to know unless I have a human design reading. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm probably not going to know what's tucked in and hidden in. And, that's fascinating that you allowed that to come up. You identified it, and then you're like, all right, bitches, let's go. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then you tuckered that energy out. And now it's shifted an aspect of your life for the more positive. That's such a beautiful thing. Thank you for sharing that.
You're very welcome. It's kind of what I find kind of like, if we don't do the emotional work, if we
Mm,
don't let those pieces, like, number one, if you're going to do this kind of work, don't do it by yourself. I mean,
true.
I had some support to, do it with, right? Like, I worked with the coach. I did all the things. And people are like, oh, you're a coach and you work with the coach. Absolutely. Every coach should have a
Oh,
coach, and every therapist should have a
yes.
therapist.
Yes, as a healer, I have a healer. As a healer, I have a coach. 100%. Like, you always need
Yeah,
to be evolving. Like,
absolutely. There's always somebody that knows a little bit more than you or has another resource that you don't have in your toolbox, right?
absolutely.
And so for me, when you do this kind of work, it is literally, you have to have someone to hold that space for you, because
Mm.
you don't want to take that, that judgmental. You said you had the judgmental bitchy side. I called him. I was like, you're a royal dick. That's what referred to myself as, right? And I didn't want to turn that outward and like look at my
Yes.
family and be in a situation with them and be like, I'm so much better than you. I hate you. I didn't want to do that, right? Because I
Yes,
don't
of
want to hurt
course.
someone.
Right.
But that energy needed somewhere to go because it's a trauma response that never got resolution.
Right.
So it's kind of that you have to have the space for somewhere to go, someone to hold that container open for you that you can pour that into, and then you have to be willing to do the work, because let's face it, you're going to meet with your coach once a week, or
Yes.
your therapist once a week for an hour.
Yeah.
There's not a whole hell of a lot that we as coaches or your therapist can do in an hour, but you're with yourself 24 hours a day. So
True.
you got to be willing to do the work as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can you maybe explain how your approach to human design differs from traditional methods?
Yes. So I term what I do divine human design.
Ooh,
And that is
I love that.
because, yeah, thank you. And it's because I can't unsee all of the years of spiritual stuff that I've seen um, occur in my life. I can't discount it as
Mm,
unreal. I can't discount it as an illusion. And you will find any traditionally human design people, please cover your ears right now because I'm going to say something very heretical. But you will find that in traditional human design, the founder of human design would say, the spiritual aspect is an illusion. And I'm like, no, it's not. It absolutely isn't. And so when I spoke at the Human Design Conference in September of 2023, I spoke on this very topic, how the spirituality is not an illusion, and how I actually traced it back through concepts like the Law of One, and from the tarot, and from A Course in Miracles, and how the same voice. Because if you've read A Course in Miracles, it speaks of the voice that spoke, right?
yep.
Same thing in the Law of One. It
Yep.
speaks of the voice, right? Human design also has the same voice, and that voice across all three systems carries the same signature and the same vibration. It says the exact same things. And I was like, it's not an illusion. The spirituality is not an illusion. So I take all the tools that I have in my toolbox and I blend them into what I call divine human design. And I will say, a lot of people after that conference came to me and said, oh my God, thank you so much for not letting the spiritual aspect of this go.
Yes.
And I can't let it go. So I can only blend what I see out into the bigger part of human design, because human design itself is a synthesis, and
Mhm.
it's a mutative science is what they call it, right? So bringing the spiritual in is mutating human design in the way that it's intended to go, because the founder is no longer with us, so he was only able to carry the torch so far.
So
Someone else has to
true.
carry the torch, so someone else has to carry the torch, and then someone else has to carry. So I don't have all the answers in divine human design. Someone else is going to take divine human design and they're going to mutate and evolve that.
Yes.
I'm so excited to see where all these offshoots are going, because they all go together.
I love that. I love how a divine human design. That's really amazing. Like I really like that. And I like that you're still incorporating the spiritual aspect of it. I couldn't imagine somebody saying it's an illusion. Like that just seems so disconnected from us as a divine being having a human experience.
Well, I see what you'll see in human design though is there's this polarity that happens in the human experience, right? Where people say, "Oh, we're all spiritual," and then you have people say, "No, it's all body." And the answer is, it's neither. It's
Oh,
somewhere in the center of both.
right.
And human design is the polar swing from we're all spiritual beings. They say, no, it's all the body. No, it's a combination of both.
That makes
Now,
sense.
do I have the exact dead center of this? I do not. Did he have the exact dead center of this? No. But what he brought in was what his nervous system was able to contain for him, and
Mm,
his nervous system was able to bring through that we're neglecting the body mechanics of it all.
right.
So that's what human design is for. But we also can't neglect the spiritual end of it as well. So we gotta blend.
I love that. So I know that part of the thing you said you're going to do a mini demonstration of a human design reading. I'm
Oh
nervous.
gosh, yeah. So let me pull your chart.
Oh
I have it
goodness,
here
guys.
in the app.
So I will say that while we were interviewing back and forth, I really felt comforted when I got an email from Larry saying that we're going to get along because we had, I think we're, what are you? You're a compassion.
I'm a 6'2".
And I think I'm a six something. I don't know.
Uh-huh. You are also a 6'2".
Guys, best friends.
Yes. So I love 6'2s, and for people that are listening, you're like, what is a 6'2"? A 6'2" is what in human design we call your profile, and this is the character that you play in this lifetime, right? So you are just looking at your chart. You are a 6'2" generator. What does any of that stuff means? This means you're here to respond to life.
Right.
Right. So we talked a little bit before this podcast about, what does the sacral mean and what does all these things mean and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna I'm gonna ask you
What do
what
I
if there's
think it
anything that
means?
or what are your big questions, because you have a lot of interesting stuff going on here.
So to be honest, and okay, guys, so I am a reading whore. I love getting readings by any type of reader. I will be the first to admit that. I I was like, I don't even know what questions to ask for
Okay.
a divine human design. And I hate to say that because it makes me sound like so silly. And I guess it's more like I don't know. I
Okay. No, it's so I'll give you a couple things here just based on what I'm seeing in your chart, just kind of a general overview.
He's like, bless you.
So the human design chart is composed of 9 different energy systems, and 2 of them happen kind of above the neck. So if you're familiar with the chakra system, right?
Yes.
Human design splits it off into to 9 different centers instead of 7.
Right.
So you have the familiar, the head, and the ajna. You also have the throat. Then you have the G center and the ego, which those 2 have split off from one another. Okay. Then you have the solar plexus. You have the sacral. You have the root, and then you also have the spleen center. All that is Greek, right?
Yeah.
So the big thing for you is I'm looking at your chart here, and you have a completely open solar plexus. The solar plexus, as in human design, is responsible for emotions and emotional regulations. So I'm just going to go ahead and say what I'm going to say here. That for you, you're going to tend to be
Dramatic.
you wear your heart on your sleeve, very much so.
Yes.
I was going to air away from the word dramatic, but you definitely wear your heart on your sleeve, and you can tend toward probably what people would consider overreaction. I hate that word because there's no
No,
such thing as an overreaction.
I would say I'm
But go,
hypersensitive.
you're very hypersensitive, and that's because your solar plexus is completely open. So that means when you feel an emotion, you feel the emotion 10 times bigger in your body. If you're happy, you're the happiest person that has ever been
Yes.
alive. If someone has pissed you off,
Oh,
it is the hellfires of Satan himself coming into the room,
I try
right?
so hard to be good.
But that's how you feel all emotion, and that's the way you're designed to feel emotion. It is this big explosive emotion for you, no matter if it's a good emotion or it's a neutral emotion or it's a bad emotion. You feel it, you're sensitive, you're going to get your feelings hurt very easily. You're going to tend to
Yes.
get that's going to happen for you very easily. And then once if you'll find that if you repress the expression of that emotion, the frustration that you continue to get under is going to mount and get bigger, and you're going to be completely frustrated until you actually break at the seams, and then it's going to be it's just going to come at you, right?
I'm
And
very
anybody
much
that's in
I'm very much a we need to get this out right now, or
Hmm.
I'm good. I'm done. Like, I can't have
Yeah.
animosity. I don't like festering energy. I'm like, let's just clean the slate here and now because I don't like this tension.
And here's what's the interesting part about your open solar plexus is once you have got it out,
I'm good.
you're cool.
I'm so
You're
cool.
cool. You're good. And people are coming to you 3 days later. You're like, and they're rehashing, and you're like, oh, babe, we talked about
We're
that.
over this.
I'm good. We're good. And
Larry,
they're
you're
still holding
good.
on to it, right?
Larry, you're so good. This is so me. I'll be over and done with something in 5 minutes. I'm like, if we've talked about it, we're good. Moving on. Life is good.
Now, and I'll juxtapose that with someone like me who has a defined solar plexus center, right? So this might help you a little bit in your life.
Okay.
So if you run across someone with a defined solar plexus center, like myself, we have what we can call the emotional wave. So we are
Ooh.
always feeling emotion. So literally, imagine us on the ocean, right? Even on the prettiest day at the ocean, you can still see waves rippling on the water. They're not dramatic waves or anything like that, but they're still moving on the water. The
Yeah.
water is not still. That is how we are always feeling. We're
Oh,
always feeling something.
that's
Always.
interesting.
Whereas you guys, I call it this. Is, you won't find this term in human design. You'll find it when I release my book on it. But I call you guys. You have what I call emotional impact. I liken it to a comet ripping through the atmosphere, and it hits the surface and throws up all this dust and stuff, but it settles and it's done.
And you're like,
Us, the comet hits the water and it's waves
it's
and
forever ripples.
yes, and we're thrown
Oh,
overboard, and we got all this salt water in our face. We're trying to figure out which way is up. We can't see. We have no clarity. We don't know. And the only thing that we can do is we can ride the wave. That's the only
wow.
thing that we can do.
That is fascinating. Like, it makes me really have to be more conscious of maybe how my emotional reactions are if somebody is constantly riding a wave. Like,
Yeah,
that
because
sounds intense.
I don't know how to not be like so. Any people with that are emotionally defined, I find feel really misunderstood, and we're about
Mm.
50% of the population. So there's 50% of you
Wow.
guys walking out there that have no emotional definition. There are 50% of us walking around with emotional definition.
Wow.
I wouldn't know how to survive without emotional definition. My
Right.
fiance is completely emotionally open, the most sensitive soul you will ever meet. Gets his feelings hurt like this,
Yes.
right? But for
Listen,
me,
you
it's
could
like,
text somebody and I'd be like, who are you texting?
yeah, right.
So sweet.
And for him, it's very much that. And for me, it's the emotionally that are people that are emotionally defined. We have these. We can often be accused of feeling of seeming like we don't care enough or that we're not in it.
Wow.
No, it's just because we're so used to being on the wave of the water. It's just like we're used to this.
Yes.
So you get really big emotional expression out of us, and you can also see in us like those people who are like, oh my god, you're bipolar. Are they bipolar or are they emotionally defined? Because there
Right.
are 7 gates in the
Right.
emotional solar plexus that can change how this wave calibrates.
Right.
So some people can have these really big crashing waves that
Right.
wouldn't make them seem bipolar, but they're not. They just haven't had a way or someone to tell them this is what your wave is about. This is what you're feeling. This is how you're feeling. This is how you're supposed to process this.
That makes so much sense. Now, you just said something during this when your book comes out. So, are you writing a book on divine human design?
I am.
When is it coming
It's
out?
I don't know. Um, so I'm right. It's a book and it's going to have a tarot deck with it. It's I'm about oh
Oh,
let's see where am I at in the tarot deck? I've done the major arcana, I've done the cups, and I've done the wands.
I am so excited because honestly, in this brief time that we've been together, you have made divine human design make so much more sense than, and I honestly, like, I've been exposed to this for years. So it's not that it's not new, but the way that you were making it understand to me, I'm like, oh, okay, then
Yeah,
this makes sense. I do have a question. I don't know if you can tell this in human design.
sure.
So I really love doing interviews. I love being a podcast host. I love doing
It's in your
interviews.
design. It's in your design.
Larry would love to do this. I'm a registered nurse who runs a doctor's office in my full-time gig, but I would love to have this show or some type of show be my gig because I'm a healer and I do readings and all that kind of fun stuff too. But is that a possibility in my human design chart?
So let me pull your chart back up here. So you have a defined throat, right? You are here to actually speak. So the throat center in human design is the center for manifestation, right? And for you, the way that your throat center works, let me pull up you that channel here that you have.
I love
Uh-huh.
these channels.
Yeah, so you have the channel 1648. So it's about bringing all your intuition and all that expression of that intuition to the throat, so it can actually get out. So you actually want to have that. You want to actually speak and creatively use your talents to actually bring things into the world. And it has to be with what you identify with. It can't be
Mm,
just any random thing. It has to be what lights you up and what brings you joy. Because if it's not what lights you up and if it's not what brings you joy, it is destined to fail. You will lose interest and you actually won't even be turned on by it.
wow.
So I would almost venture to say that with you being a healer and the nursing thing, let me scroll back up. Okay, with you being a healer, with you being the nursing thing, you have a lot of individuation in your chart. So you do like the one-on-one kind of
Yes.
connection that you get with people. And then you have the 515 as well. Um,
I'm like, oh,
so for you, it's about finding a rhythm that is basically marching to the beat of your own drum, the rhythm of your own life. And then you have these rhythmic extremes that you have, like, and it's something that you can't explain to a lot of people. It's something a
right,
lot of people don't get about you, and it's like,
right.
well, you're into this and you're into that. Yes, that's because you are responding to
Mm,
life. So
yes.
absolutely making this your full-time gig as a generator, what you're here to do is you're here to respond. And the strategy for doing that is you're going to wait to respond. You're going to wait for something to come into your aura field, your energy field. And then once you're like, oh, that makes sense for me, I have that resonates with me, boom, then it's time to go. But before you have something to respond to, it's time for you to actually sit and lie and wait.
Gotcha.
So, and the way you're designed to respond, because you have a defined sacral center, is you're designed to say uh-huh or uh-uh to things. So you will notice in your life that you have probably been told throughout your life, use your words. Don't say mm-hmm or mm-mm. You say no, give me an extra word. No, the sacral is a motor and it makes that noise automatically without you doing anything. And you'll notice it the most with food. Like you get some good food and you're like, this is so good. That is your sacral saying, oh my God, this is really good for me. I like this. And if someone says, hey, Rachel, you want to go out to a movie? And you're like, well, I mean, we can go later. But the first thing your sacral said was, which means whatever, for whatever reason, your body says, I don't want to do this.
That
And
is,
those are the responses.
I don't mean to laugh, but this is so dead on because I'm immediately yes, no, yes, no, yes,
Yeah.
no. Do you want to like, and my family gets irritated with me because they'll be like, well, I want to do this. I'm like, no. And then I'm like, okay, wait. I'm sorry. I'm having a moment. I'll try to be better. Like but automatically, no.
So, and I will tell you I'm sorry, I'll try to be better. That's incorrect for you and your energy.
Oh, okay then.
If your
Thank
body, because
you.
you're
I
welcome,
have an
because you
automatic no or
yeah, so,
yes.
that is how the sacral works.
Okay.
It almost bypasses it doesn't almost it bypasses the mind. The mind has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Your body says something, and you're like, oh, I didn't mean no, but
I do that.
those are
You're
the
right.
moments.
I feel bad.
Don't feel bad because your body is telling you. And I'll do an exercise with you.
Okay.
Think about any situation that you have said no to initially, and then you flip around and you say yes to. Think about how screwed up the situation is that you end up in.
Always. Always.
That
I'm
that
like,
is because you're
always.
yes, and that is
I don't
because
even
you're
need an example. I know I will get messed up.
and
I'll
that
be
is because your
annoyed,
body
irritated. Yeah.
frustrated is the signature for you, for us. You'll immediately feel this frustration, and that, so if you're always frustrated, you're living in what we call in human design the not self. It's when you are not being yourself. It is
Oh,
the sign from your body that whatever you're doing is not in alignment for you. When you're doing what is in alignment for you, this feeling that you should feel in your body is complete and total satisfaction.
okay.
You're just satisfied. You're cool. So
I love
now
that.
what I would tell you with human design is experiment. So let yourself have those responses, those yes or no responses. Your sacral is going to respond to yes or no, this or that type of situations. So if I say to you, Rachel, where do you want to go for dinner? I have no idea where I want to go for dinner. But if I say steak or fish, one of those will
Steak.
give you a response. That boom, that is the right answer for you. That's the right answer for you. And there, and just because something is a no right now doesn't mean in 3 weeks it will still be a no. You can always revisit those no responses,
Okay.
but you can revisit those yes responses because that were a no for me a year ago now are a yes. So it's not no forever. It's no for this moment in time,
Moment.
right now.
And to tune into my body and how I'm feeling. And if I'm in a state of frustration, then I'm not living where I need to be. I need to be in a moment
Absolutely.
of satisfaction. Okay.
Absolutely. And there's 5 different energy types. Kill me, human design people, because human design traditionalists will say there are 4. There are 5. Um, um, but there are 5 different energy type, and each different energy type has a different way of like interacting with the world. It's not a response for everyone.
Right.
If you're a projector, if you're waiting for an invitation, and that signature emotion that the projectors feel is they feel bitter.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. If you're a manifestor, the signature emotion of their not self is anger. But when they're in the right environment, it's peace. For a projector, when they're feeling, recognizing all that good stuff, they feel success, they feel successful, they feel great. Right. So everyone has their own individual way that they're designed to feel when they're not being themselves and when they are being themselves.
Yes.
And then I'll also
Go ahead. No, no,
go
please.
ahead.
No, you
Oh,
go
I'll
ahead.
drop
I'm like, you
since you
keep
said you're
talking.
since you're a reading person, the other thing that I'll drop on you as a 6'2", which made me like go straight into human design. So how often in your life have you been told, Rachel, I don't know why you need all this alone time. Like you don't ever want people in your space and you don't ever want people around, but you do want people around, but it has to be on your terms and da 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 da. Da. How
So
how often that's it?
So I will say when I see the hermit in my line, or if I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what it is, 100%. I thrive on being alone.
Mm-hmm.
But
That
people won't leave me alone.
you want me to tell you why that is?
Why?
People don't leave you alone is because so what happens as a 6'2", we're both 6'2s, is when we take the alone time, it can become really imbalanced really quickly because we will find ourselves so content that we're not interacting with people, we're barely responding to
True.
texts, we're doing
True.
all these things. This 2 line has to be called back out into the world. So when people are reaching back out to you, it's saying you've had enough alone time, come back out to the world. But that
Okay.
alone time is not for us just to completely disconnect and not have any time with anyone. It's for us to sit down and integrate whatever we've been experiencing.
Yes.
And then you'll find yourself in this position as a 6 line, which is your conscious line. You'll find yourself in this where people are always looking at you, and people are all well. What is let's Rachel knows. Let's ask Rachel. Right? Let's talk to her. She knows
Yes.
what to do. The 6 line
Always.
is the role model line. You don't have to try to be a role model. People just look at your life, and you naturally role model things to them.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
can tell you, and I'll ask a question that I've always been told you're not supposed to ask someone. Are you over 28 years old?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So the
I'm
first
older than you,
28
Larry.
you don't look it. You do not look it. But the first 28 years of your life, I'll also say this to you. You lived your life as a 3, as a line 3, like myself, like any 6 line, which means you did a lot of trial and error. You tried a lot of things. You made a lot of public mistakes, and you're like, why can't I stop making? I can't stop screwing up. That is
Yes.
because those first 28 years of your life, you were supposed to try everything out. Because what happens at 28 is we go up on what we call the roof in human design. We have all this experience in us, and now we know what does work and what doesn't work. And we're looking down from this elevated perspective on the roof. Literally, just think about being on a roof and looking down, and we can see everything from everyone, and we can say, "Oh, yep, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. I wouldn't do that." But it's hard to call us off the roof. If you call us off the roof, it better be for a good damn reason. Like if you're getting in our space and you're like really having us come down and explain something to you, you better have a good damn reason for that. And then as you enter like 48 years old, we actually naturally come down off the roof and we
Okay.
start interacting with the world, and we have all of this wisdom and all of these insights and all of this stuff to share with people.
I'll
But
be
people will
coming
come
off the
to
roof
you.
in 2 years.
Okay, so you should actually be feeling the energy of that right now. it's kind of like you'll start getting this little restless, like, okay, it's time to do something. It's
I am
okay.
getting restless.
Yeah, because you've been on the roof since you've been 28, right? So now it's time to come down and you have all this wisdom and all this insight, everything to share with people because everything you had and you went through the first 28 years and even through your 30s and your up to right now, right?
Right.
You turned it, you tore it up, you turned it into wisdom, you ingested it, you took that special alone time that we need, and you're like, okay, this is how life works. This is how things go. Okay, and it's a very specific to you. How do I want to show up in the world? How do I see the
Mm,
world? The thing about it is, here's the crazy thing is, you're like, I don't have the answers people are looking for. I can
that's
only tell you what's
100%.
working for me.
Right. Right.
That's all you're intended to do.
Okay,
It's
then.
tell people what works for you. You might be the guru on the hill that everyone comes to, but you might not have the answer they're looking for. But if they come to you and you feel that response, like, yeah, I'll share this with them, that yes or no response, right? Share it with them. But don't tell them what to do. And that's the biggest thing for the six because we're like, we have all this knowledge and wisdom, come to us. And we will tell you we're not going to tell you what to do. We will share with you what's happened and what we see. But what you do with that information after you take it from us, that's on you. Has nothing to do with us.
I 100% resonate with that. I always say to my clients, look, I am going to be a mentor for a little while, but ultimately you're going to have to ride the bike on your own. Like,
Spoken like a true six line.
Larry, you are so amazing. If anyone is interested in booking a session, learning more about you, you have an amazing website. Where is the best place for them to go to?
Go over to Paralary, that's PARALARRY.com. And you can send me an email message there, or you can book a reading there. You can get me on Instagram under officially_Larry. I suck at social media. It's not something that I actually respond to using human design language. I really don't respond to social media that well. So I check it maybe once every 3 weeks, a month.
I like the
So if you get me there,
transparency.
yes. So if you get me there, you're like, I've sent him a message. He hasn't sent anything back. It's because I probably haven't checked it. So email me, and you can email me at larry@paralary.com. I'll see that because that comes automatically over. But if you're going to send me an Instagram message, be prepared to wait. I would much rather you hit the website or just shoot me an email.
I love that. And for our final question, can you maybe
Sure.
share a piece of advice or wisdom for our listeners who are seeking to enhance their spiritual journey and personal growth?
I'll say something a lot of spiritual teachers won't like. And it's this. If you're going to dive into spirituality, do it with balance. Because what a lot of spiritual people do, and this is pretty much every spiritual teacher that I run across, they teach so much heavy spirituality that they're
Mm,
actually teaching a different branded escapism. So spirituality becomes, it replaces alcoholism, it replaces drugs, it replaces sex, it replaces these things. You
yes.
are not exempt from the human experience. So yeah, you can be spiritual and you can do all your affirmations, all that good stuff, but you're going to have to live. And you're going to have to live a real life in the real world. You are not exempt from the human experience. So do not put all of your cards in the spiritual bucket because I promise you that is the way to introduce the most resistance and non-manifestation into your life.
That is a really profound piece of advice, and it almost likens it to spiritual bypassing. Like
Absolutely.
you gotta live the experience. Well, Larry, I want to thank you so so much for coming to Spiritual Spotlight series. I am definitely going to have you back on when your book is coming out. So thank you again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.